Maybe it's a bird after some. It will. Maybe you can keep speaking. You can just keep it here, and then when you start to work,
then you start speaking.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I try to be as loud as I can, but if not, you just all have to come closer maybe to listen to my voice. This microphone is giving some trouble. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Vasudeva I didn't catch her. You have to keep it off or not? Nothing? Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. Don't touch the microphone. That is the first instruction of the class today. Very well. So one of the activities of my freedom has been taken off. As soon as I said, I can't do like this, I can't even touch this. So please bear with me, I will go up and down with my. So, thank you very much for all of you for coming today for this wonderful festival, Sri Ram Navami. Hare Krishna. So, one request for the youth in the kitchen, youth department in the kitchen, please be quiet. Try to be as mellow as possible. Still talking.
Well, somebody repeated your instruction.
Okay. So, how many of you know Ramayana? Just the story of Ramayana. Don't worry that I'm going to ask you some deeper questions. Just Ramayana. Just Ram, Sita, like all Ramayana. Everybody knows Ramayana. That's nice. So because everybody knows Ramayana, we don't want to go very basic story of Ramayana, that. But we'll just touch base for this appearance of Lord Sri Ramchandra. So you know how Dashrath, he has 3 wives, right? Kausalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi. And he didn't have, but they are actually primary queens. Right? Dashrath has 3 primary queens. But he actually has, I think, around few hundreds, thousands of wives. Because those days, Parshuram, he used to chop off people if they do something wrong. So, but he doesn't touch people when they're getting married. So whenever Parshuram is on his way, Dashrath's ministers informs Dashrath he's coming. And then Dashrath goes and sits for the marriage. Like that he has many wives, but the primary queens are Kausalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi. But still they did not have children. He doesn't have any children. So as all of you know, he does the Putra Kameshti Yajna, and then he gets 4 sons, Ram, Bharat, Lakshmana and Shatrugna. So that's the appearance of Lord Sri Ramchandra. And you know that when Ram, Lakshmana, Bharat, Shatrugna were born, so they were placed in different, what do you call baskets, different baskets. I think Ram and Shatrugna was one place and Lakshmana and Bharat in one place, but they are crying. They both are crying. Lakshmana is crying, Shatrugna is crying. So their priest, he told them switch them. So Ram and Lakshmana came together, and Bharat and Shatrugna went to the other basket, and then they were pacified. So from the birth, from the appearance, Lakshmana is his eternal servant, and eternal servant Balaram came as Lakshmana. So anyway, so that's the appearance of him, Lord Ramchandra. because we all know Ramayana, we don't want to just tell it as a story. Then we just doze off and then we don't. We're like, yeah, I know Rama went to the forest. Yeah, I know Rama came. Yeah, I know. It's all that I know comes into the mind. So we wanted to focus more on the lessons that we wanted to learn from the scriptures. That way we will. So I'm not going to go everywhere, but we'll try to take bits and pieces from Ramayana that we know. And then we'll try to see what are the lessons that we want to learn, we wanted to take home from that pastimes. So we will start with, Rama's ceremony, like the coronation ceremony that he wanted to. Dashrath want him to be a king, so everybody wants him to be a king. So Dashrath takes the advice from his ministers first, and that minister says yes, he is ready for. You have to get down. And Dashrath asks the question, what did I do? Did I do anything wrong? You didn't like me all these days, why I have to get down? But the minister says, when someone is more capable of us, even in our lives, and when someone is more capable of us and we're in some position and someone else is a little more capable of us doing those services, it's better to give those services to them. So Krishna gets the best service. So they know Lord Ram is very capable. So they said, yes, he's ready. So he announces that he's going to be coronated as king the next day, and the whole Ayodhya was very, very happy. They are celebrating, they are very happy. And when the palace they start decorating the palace, the Ayodhya roads, everything was blissful, except one person, which is Mandara. Mandara is the personal servant of Kaikeyi. Right? So Mandara goes to Kaikeyi and she tells, did you hear this news? But Ram is going to be coronated as king. And then she feels so happy, Kaikeyi. Oh yes, I know it, and I'm very happy that he is going to be coronated as king. And those days, they're all queens. They have so much of opulence. So she immediately takes one diamond necklace and she gives it to Mandara as a token of appreciation for bringing that such good news. But what does Mandara do with that? She just throws it on the floor. She says, who wants this? And you are not understanding what you are going to, what kind of situation you are going to be in. It's coronated. And Kaikeyi says, what are you talking? I love Ram so much. I want him to be my son in my next life. And I want Sita to be my daughter-in-law in my next life. But Mandara tells her, see, Kaikeyi, she is very much attached to the attention that she gets. And Dashrath Maharaj gives her so much attention. So now Mandara knows that point, so now she is going to take that as her witness. And she just imagine, if Ram is coronated as king, now who will become the Rajmata? Kaushalya. Once Kaushalya becomes Rajmata, they are going to treat you like a servant, because Kaushalya was his first wife. Right. Then when Kaikeyi came, Dashrath Maharaj actually neglected Kaushalya, giving a lot of attention and love and affection to Kaikeyi. Now Mandara says, if she becomes Rajamata, she is going to take revenge on her, even though that's not what Kaushalya is, but Mandara is just feeding this to Kaikeyi's mind. Now Kaikeyi gets scared at that moment, thinking, oh, I'm going to be under somebody. I'm going to be a dasi to somebody. No, everybody is not going to treat me like a queen the way they're treating me right now. So then she says, oh, then what should I do? Then she asks Mandara, so what do you want me to do? Then she reminds Kaikeyi that, you remember, we have 2 benedictions that Dashrath Maharaj promised you to give. So now it's time for you to ask those benedictions. Okay, so we'll stop there, that story. And then now Dashrath Maharaj, now he is going to Kaikeyi's palace, because he is going, but he is both in happiness and also in anxiety. That he is happy that tomorrow is coronation, Ram is going to be the king, but he is in anxiety about what Kaikeyi is going to say. Because Kaikeyi's son is Bharat. Now Ram is going to be coronated. So now how Kaikeyi is going to feel? That anxiety is there for him. So he is going into Kaikeyi's palace with the mixed emotions of both happiness and anxiety. So as he expected, when he entered the palace, he could see it's not many lights are on. There is no happiness in the palace. Not much going on in the palace. And then those days, not unlike these days, where people when they get angry, they take the car and go out, right? That's the main thing they do. When they get upset with wife gets husband upset, first thing they do, they just get in and then they drove off, where as they like, to a different place, to a shopping mall. But those days, when queens gets mad, they have a separate house called Kopagruha, means which is angry house. Like when they get angry, they just go and sit in that particular room. So the king knows that, oh, she is mad. Right? So now he couldn't find Kaikeyi in the main room that he's looking for. Now he came to know that she's in the Kopagruha. So how she was, she actually took off everything. She took off her bangles and ornaments, and she took off everything that a lady should have to represent that she is married. So now Dashrath goes in. See, this one lesson from this is, now Dashrath is going into the palace and he's knowing that Kaikeyi is mad. Still Dashrath did not become alert. Right? He was not alert. He was still thinking only how to pacify her. He was not thinking how attentive I should be from what is going to come from her. There is no caution for him. There is no precautionary steps that he took to think what he should do. So even in our lives, same thing, right? Sometimes we say, oh, if you do this, something is going to happen. And oh, if you take this step, it's not good for you. But we don't listen. Because we are only thinking, if I do this, this will happen. If I don't do this, this will happen. But we are telling you, if you do that, that's going to happen. Be alert, be cautious. But many times we are not. And so Dashrath did the same thing. He was not alert, knowing that the situation is bad. So he enters into Kaikeyi's palace. And then he tries to pacify her. How he was trying to pacify her? He's saying, what happened? Why are you like this? What do you want, Kaikeyi? What do you want? I will give you everything that you wanted. Whatever you want, I will give you. Just imagine being a king, not even thinking once about the citizens, not even thinking once about the family members. He is promising Kaikeyi, I will give you everything that you want. Like those days, it is not like these days that, we just say something and we shamelessly say again, I didn't say that. Right? We say something and we can say shamelessly, yeah, I didn't say that. Or we say, I didn't mean that. My intention is not that. Those days, it is not like that. Kings, once they say, they stick to the truth. They stick to what they say. Now he is saying, Kaikeyi, you ask me anything. I will give you whatever you want. So being leaders, we need to think, what is the lesson from this? As we go forward into the story, we will come to know what kind of, this thing came from that. So being leaders also sometimes, whether being in the movement leaders or presidents or these, that doesn't matter. Once we are in the leadership position, once we are leaders, we have to think twice before we speak something, before we act something. In our smaller community, if we take our community as an example, we say before we say something, we have to think about the entire community as a leader, how it is going to impact the community, what it is going to do the community, how the congregation is going to impact. If we are not thinking on those lines and just keeping giving promises, saying things, yeah, this will be done, yeah, that will be done, we will do this, we will do that, then impact is going to be on the congregation, and as a leader, the leader will be impacted soon enough. Right? So that is the lesson from that. We need to think twice before we say. But Dashrath Maharaj, no caution, no precaution. He just said, I'll give you everything that you want. And he's also saying, be a king. What do you want me to do? Tell me. You want me to bring a rich person and make him poor, take the riches away? Or you want me to bring someone who is not eligible to be punished? He's a good person. Punish him? Or you want me to bring a person who is about to be had, death, and release him, saying that he is pious? I will do anything for you, Kaikeyi. Tell me, what do you want? And Kaikeyi, what Kaikeyi is thinking? That Kaikeyi is, and what he is doing, Dashrath, another thing he is doing what? He is promising all of this in the name of whom? In the name of Lord Ramachandra, who has nothing to do with this. He is promising all of this in the name of Lord Ramachandra. Like that, sometimes we come to services, right? We will do it, and then we are not. And then we are asking somebody else to cover for us. Oh, I didn't think about this before I come into this service. Go ahead and do it. We do it. I will not do it. That's another lesson. What we are capable of, we should do it. So anyway, Dashrath said this, and then Kaikeyi herself is not a bad person. She is a very good person. We already saw that she wanted Ram to be her son. She is very happy. But why did she turn like that? Because of the association with Manda. Even in our lives it happens. We may not have any bad intention, we may not have any bad thoughts about some person, some activity, some event, doesn't matter. But the person who does not like that event, person who does not like that activity or that thing, then they will come and start talking about the negativity of that, and then that influences us. And we start thinking about negativity about the same thing. So that's what happened. And Kaikeyi, what did she develop out of this? She developed extreme selfishness. Extreme selfishness she developed. Now, Dashrath is trying to plead her. He was begging her, saying, Kaikeyi, please, you ask me for anything, I will give you, but don't be like this. And then what does Kaikeyi do? She stood up. And then what did she ask for? 2 benedictions she asks. So when Kaikeyi got up, it is like, those benedictions are like water, and then the Kaikeyi's hand is like a snake hole, What happens to the snake hole when it rains? The water goes into the hole, and then what happens to the snake? The snake comes out. That's why even you see sometimes in Mayapur we see these big humongous floods, and what we see all these buildings hanging snakes, and so many snakes in the water. So when the water goes into the snake hole, the snake comes out. Similarly, these 2 benedictions are like water going into that hole. And then what came out? The snake of anger. That snake came and it stung whom? Dashrath Maharaj. It stung Dashrath Maharaj. So what are the 2 benedictions she asked? She said, I want Bharat to be coronated in the place of Ram, and I want Ram to go into the forest for 14 years. So Dashrath Maharaj could not hear anything because he was so, he's lost basically. He could not even focus about what she was saying. Like when many doctors are here, when the body goes into shock all of a sudden, sometimes there will not be even bloodstream. It just stops. Everything stops. So that's how it is for Dashrath Maharaj. Everything stopped for him. What did you ask? So here when we take Dashrath Maharaj, he was very much addicted to the truth. Right? He was not thinking about his responsibility. He was not thinking as a king what he should do. We have to worship the truth. We have to be truthful. We have to worship the truth, but we should not be addicted to the truth. Okay? He, as a king, he has all power to tell Kaikeyi, this is not going to happen. Because this is going to impact the whole kingdom. It's going to impact the whole family. He has the power, but he did not use it. He was only thinking about him being truthful. He was only thinking about him, thinking, I already gave the word that I will fulfill. But he was not thinking on a larger scale at what impact it is going to have on the kingdom, what impact it's going to have on the family. So, if we take like that, how addicted that thing is, like, see people, some people they eat flesh, like a lot of people eat flesh. When they are cutting the animals, they are very much worried about the sharpness of the knife, right? Or whether the knife is sharp or not. They sharp it so delicately, so gently, so cautiously, making sure their finger is not cut. But they use the same knife to cut another animal's throat. So when they are ready to eat that flesh, they really cannot relate that, oh, I was so careful about my little finger that it get cut, but I took the life of another animal out. Because they are not sensitive enough, desensitized. So that's what Kaikeyi is right now. She's totally desensitized. So Dasharatha was pleading, Kaikeyi, it is not possible, I cannot do this, I cannot live without Ram, I will die. She said, that's fine. Right? Kaikeyi said, that's fine. I don't care, but I want Bharat to be coronated, and then I want Ram to go to the forest. So then he says, oh, why are you doing this to me? I did every single thing for your pleasure. I neglected Kaushalya, I neglected Sumitra, but I just focused only on you. I tried to give pleasure to you. I gave my life to you. I gave everything that you wanted. Why are you doing this to me? Please don't do this to me. He wanted to touch her feet and beg forgiveness. But he was so lost that he couldn't even move his body and reach her feet. Can you imagine? He's trying to reach her feet begging forgiveness, but she's standing and saying, nothing doing, that's all I wanted. I want that to happen now. But because he's so lost, he wouldn't respond. So then she sends the servants to call for Lord Ram, because she knows what Lord Ramchandra says. So Lord Ramchandra comes and she says, look, this is what your father promised and he's not responding, so what do you want to do? She said, Mother, I do not want the kingdom for my own pleasure. I do not want kingdom for my own sake. If that's all you wanted me to do, why do you have to go through all this? You would have just called me, give me one order saying, Lord Ram, you go to the forest. I would have happily gone to the forest. Why you have to do all this? And the Lord Ramchandra was getting ready to leave to the forest. And Dashrath was unconscious there. Before Dashrath goes to unconscious, Sumantra is the minister of Dashrath. He comes. The priest comes, Vishwamitra, Vasishtha, they come, and then Sumantra comes, and they're like, what is this chaotic situation? Why is this so difficult? Why you brought all this Kaikeyi? And they're trying to pacify Kaikeyi, they're trying to, calm down Kaikeyi, basically, asking her to think twice what she's doing. But she wasn't listening to anybody. Then Sumantra comes. His minister Sumantra comes. And then he says, now he comes to know the situation. See, those days the ministers has the power to advise the king, to tell king what to do. It is not like, whatever you say I will do, not like these days, personal secretaries, whatever the president says they do. It's not like that. The ministers has the power, the ministers has the intelligence to guide the king. So now Sumantra tells this Kaikeyi, in front of Kaikeyi, in front of Dashrath, in front of everybody, Sumantra is talking. He says this Kaikeyi, she got the mentality of her mother. Kaikeyi's father is Ashwapati. Right? Ashwapati, he had one benediction in his life. Ashwapati. The benediction is, he can understand the language of all the animals, birds, everything. Yeah, all kinds of animals. So one day when Ashwapati was in the bedroom with Kaikeyi's mother, they both were talking. Then he hears two ants couple ants, two ants, they are talking to each other. Because he can understand the language of the animals, he could understand what they are trying to converse with each other, those ants. And then he starts laughing. And then Kaikeyi's mom asks him, why are you laughing? What happened? And he says, nothing, nothing, nothing. Because along with the benediction, they also tells him that if you share the secret of whatever you hear from the animals or birds, that is the moment you are going to die. So he cannot say the secret. Microphone is gone again. I'll try to be loud. So he cannot share the secret. So he keeps saying, oh, there is nothing, don't worry, don't worry. But then Kaikeyi's mother says, no, there is something, please tell me. He kept saying, no, I cannot share. And then Kaikeyi's mom says, you are thinking about your parent. You are thinking about someone else that you are in relation with. So you please tell me who is that. And then he says, no, nothing like that. But I cannot tell you because, and then he says, I have this benediction of understanding the animal's language. Those two ants are saying something, so that's why I'm laughing. He says, what they are saying. And then he says, no, I cannot tell you because if I tell you, I will die. Then she says, I'm fine with it, but I need to know what it is. So now Sumatra says, this is her. This is the mentality of her mother. And then Sumatra says, kick this Kaikeyi out of the kingdom. Let her go out of the kingdom. She don't deserve to be here in this kingdom. She don't deserve to be your wife. Kick her out. So what do we learn from this? We should speak truth. At the same time, we have to take care of those people who are contaminating the atmosphere. Right? But Dashrath is, again, he's addicted to the truth. No, I gave the word. And he don't take any action. He doesn't take any action. And then now Ram is ready to leave to the forest. Sumatra is, taking him on the chariot. And then Dashrath, he comes to Kaushalya. When he comes to Kaushalya, Kaushalya tells Dashrath Maharaj. First he tells Kaushalya that Lord Ram is leaving. My eyes are traveling with him. And then they will never come back. Then that means what? His life is going along with the chariot. And he says they will never come back. And then he comes to Kaushalya. When Kaushalya sees him, Kaushalya says, my dear Lord, when I got married to you, I lost my parents. Right? Most of the time it happens to a woman. When we get married, we come to the in-laws house and then we hardly go sometimes to the parents' house. We may not go parents' time. So we don't spend as much time as we spent before. Like it's kind of, we are away from the parents. So she says, when I got married to you, I lost my parents. And then when you got married to Kaikeyi, I lost you because he kept neglecting Kaushalya. Now with the benedictions that you want to give it to Kaikeyi, I lost my son. So a person who lost her parents, a person who has been so much neglected by husband, a person who has lost her son, do you think that person can live? What is there that I can give you now? And Dashrath Maharaj says, please don't say like that. Now I came for a shelter. I came to you for shelter. What is the lesson from this? Very beautiful lesson from this. See, people, many times we say, many times we see in our lives, many friends, relatives in the community or outside the community, even relatives, our own relatives, they say, oh, you're so nice, we love you so much, without you there is nothing that's going to happen, you are this, you are that, right? But when the situation comes in life, when it is really, really a hard situation in life, when it is a difficult situation in life, how many people are standing behind you to support you? Those are the people that are actually genuinely loving you. If nobody is there behind you, nobody is standing behind you, it's all a transactional relationship. It is not a genuine relationship. It's all transaction. I say I love you, you say you love me, I say I like you, you say you like me, transaction, business is done. I call you for lunch, you call me for lunch, transaction is done. I take you to shopping, you take me to shopping, another transaction is done. But when we are in difficult situation, who is standing behind you, no matter what? Those are the people that are actually genuinely loving. And remember, in life, we may not see those relationships sometimes like that, but when the difficult situation comes, when we think of somebody, oh, I'm in difficulty now, so whom can I call? Whom can I take support from? The thought comes based on the people that you know, though these people are genuinely my friends. So I can call upon them, I can call them for my help. So what happened to Dashrath? Whole life he was behind every single thing, pleasing her, giving her gifts, giving her whatever she wants. When he is in difficulty, where he ran to? Kaushalya. Because he knows Kaushalya loves him very genuinely. So he tells Kaushalya, Kaushalya, please don't do this. I came for a shelter. When he says that, then, and he also says that, you are such a good wife. You were my friend when I need help. You were my wife when I needed pleasure. You are like a minister when I need advices. When I am in difficulty, you are always there understanding my situation and cooperating with me. I am ever grateful to you. And then Kaushalya begs forgiveness immediately because she really doesn't have any ill feeling towards Dashrath. But when a person is in pain, it's human nature to express what they are going through. So that's what she was trying to do. She was expressing her pain. I don't have parents. I lost you. And then now I lost my son. See, what is Kaikeyi's mistake here? This is Kaushalya Dashrath. Now when we go back to Kaikeyi, what is Kaikeyi's mistake here? Kaikeyi is asking this benediction saying, I want Bharat to be king, I want Ram to go to forest, this, that. Kaikeyi, she is so much love, she has so much love and affection for Bharat. But is that love true love? See, true love is what? True love is actually understanding what the opposite person wants. What makes the opposite person happy. Bharat, even though Kaikeyi's, parents, the mother has such mentality, Kaikeyi is little selfish sometimes, but still Bharat is so much meditating on Ram, he never developed those qualities. So now Bharat doesn't know that his mother is doing all this, but his mother did it. Why? Because my mom loves me, Bharat, right? Bharat did not say that, because my mom loves me, my mom does everything that is nice. When a mom does not understand exactly what the son wants, that love is going to turn to a poison. It's going to be poisonous for the family, poisonous for the son also. We have to know, mother, if I say, if I know Narayana does not like donuts, example, it's not true, please don't take it. Say, Narayana don't like donuts. Say somebody bringing donuts, I kept saying, oh, Narayana don't like donuts, oh, Narayana don't like donuts. And then he is thinking that, I'm like, I wish I can have at least one. Right? Is my love is helping him? This is a small example. Same thing, you take any family in the relations in our day-to-day life, mother really doesn't care what makes sons happy. Right? They want to make sure, they take care of the sons very nicely, they feed them, they give them, they do, everything is there. But if there is some opinion that is not in alignment with the mother, gone, don't come to my home, get up. Don't come here, don't do this, you are not my son. Everything comes out. Why? Because they are not ready to sacrifice their opinion. They are not ready to sacrifice their understanding for their son's love. So Kaikeyi did this. Bharat did not wanted the kingdom, but she wanted it for him. Oh, I did all this for you, beta. I did all this for you, beta. I did this, but I'm not happy with that. but still I did this. We have to appreciate it. But anyway, that's Kaikeyi. So here is Dashrath and Kaushalya. Now Dashrath is, now he's becoming unconscious. Now Sumantra started driving the chariot. Ram, Sita, Lakshman, all three are sitting in the chariot. He started driving the chariot. Dashrath is saying to Sumantra, please go slowly, so that as long as I can see Ram, I can see Ram. But Ram said, faster, come on. And Sumantra gets into confusion. He says, now you are telling me to go fast and Dashrath is telling me to go slow, so which one should I listen? That is the first time Ram lied. Ram said, you go faster. His intention is to reduce the pain, because as long as he sees Ram, pain is going to increase. So he says, you drive fast. When you come back, when my father asks you, just tell him, with the howling of these Ayodhya Vasis, everybody is crying, please, Ram, don't leave us. Just tell him we didn't listen. Ram's intention is not selfish. Ram does not want anything from that. He just wanted to make sure Dashrath gets little less pain when the situation finishes fast. So now Sumantra goes to the forest. And then when they go to the forest, Ram says, okay, now you leave us here, you go back, take the chariot and go back. Sumantra says, I'm not going. I'm going to be here. I cannot go to Ayodhya. What is there in Ayodhya now? There is nothing in Ayodhya. It's a dark city. I don't want to go back to Ayodhya. Sumantra, then Lord Ramchandra says, if you don't go back to Ayodhya, how I am going to prove to Mother Kaikeyi that I am really in the forest? And he says, no, I'm going to burn this chariot, I'm going to be here. He says, no, that's not going to prove her. You go back with the empty chariot and tell her that you left us in the forest. That is the proof that we are in the forest. And Sumantra, with a heavy heart, he takes the chariot, he comes back. When he comes back, and Dashrath Maharaj asks Sumantra, what happened there? How is everything? And then Sumantra says, my lord, the things that can move, either people, animals, birds, doesn't matter. The things that can move, they traveled along with Lord Ramachandra as long as they could travel, and then all of a sudden Lord Ramachandra disappeared and they are all standing there. The things that cannot move, like trees, they're all turned their direction towards the way where Lord Ramachandra went. So all the trees are following this direction. They're following actually this direction. And he says, I don't think so, they'll never come back to their original position. They are still hoping that Lord Ramachandra will come back. I mean, that's how the city is right now. And then listening to that, Dashrath, he feels, very dissatisfied, disheartened, and then slowly he gives up his life. So, let me see my notes. So another thing is, when 10 minutes, 5 more minutes I will say, and then I will take questions. So and then when Kaikeyi reacted that way, Dashrath was thinking, I do not want to react this way. He would keep telling her, don't react like this, don't say like this, don't do like this. See, in our lives also happens, right? It happens in our lives. When we say something, we want people to respond in such a certain way. We want people to react in certain way. And it doesn't happen. So until we have that genuine loving relationship, genuine loving, not transaction relationship, it is not going to happen. Now Lord Ram went to the forest, Sumantra came back, Dashrath left his body, now Bharat comes. And Bharat and Shatrughna, they were actually in their grandparents' house. Bharat is in his grandparents' house. Now the news goes, but when the people goes to call him, they does not tell him anything. They don't tell him anything about Lord Dashrath's passing away. They don't tell him anything. And first thing he inquires is, how is my father? How is everything? They don't say anything. They said, they want you to come right now. Please start immediately. And then he comes. It takes few days for them to travel from one place to another place. Those days, no aeroplanes. So he comes. When he comes to know, he could see, Ayodhya is not much light is there. No sacrifices are happening. Nothing is happening. What happened? Why it is nothing is happening? He goes into the palace and he asks his mom, what happened? And then his mom says, what did she do? And then for the first time in his life, Lord Bharat says, you are never going to be my mother again. You are not my mom and you will never going to be my mother again. I always wanted to be a servant of Lord Ramchandra. I never wanted to be a king. Who told you to ask for this? And then Shatrugna comes to know that Mandara poisoned Kaikeyi's mind, and the Shatrugna drags Kaikeyi, Mandara. And then, but Bharat says, let her go. If we don't forgive her, then Lord Ramchandra will not forgive us. So let her go. And then they leave her, and then now Bharat is ready to go to the forest to ask Lord Ramchandra to come back. So now Bharat with all the army, everything, he goes to the forest. And when he was going to the forest, Lakshman sees from the top of the hill that Bharat is coming with the army. And then first thing he's like, he's still not, see, Bharat is the most misunderstood person in the entire Ramayana. Because the Ayodhya Vasis, when he comes back, the Ayodhya people says, are you happy now? That Lord Ramchandra went to the forest, now you are going to be the king. Are you happy now? And then he said, I never wanted to be the king. Why you are all saying like this? He goes to Kaushalya to offer obeisances. Kaushalya says, my dear son Bharat, if you would have told me one time, your brother Lord Ramchandra would have been very happy to give you the kingdom. Why you have to do all this drama to get the kingdom? Again he collapses. He says, Mom, you did not understand me either. Not only my mother, nobody is understanding. I do not want the kingdom. And then he goes to the forest, and then Lakshman sees from there. And then he's like, oh, he's coming to attack Lord Ramchandra with all the army. And then he's like, I'm going to get ready, and then he's getting ready. And then Lord Ramchandra says, wait, he is not coming to attack us. He is our brother. He's never going to do that. And then Lord Lakshman pacifies, and Bharat comes, and Bharat asks Lord Ramchandra to come back and take the kingdom. But Lord Ramchandra says, our father promised that I should be in the forest for 14 years. And I have to be in the forest for 14 years. And I'm not going to come back. So you go and rule the kingdom. You be the king. And Bharat says, no, I cannot do this. I cannot rule the kingdom. I can rule the kingdom on behalf of you, but I cannot be the king myself. And then he takes the padukas, shoes of Lord Ramchandra. And he comes, he doesn't even stay in Ayodhya. He stays outside of Ayodhya in a small place. And then from there, he was trying to manage everything with the ministers and everything. And one day Vishwamitra, Vasishtha Muni, they wanted to test him. He's really genuine. So when the coronation is about to happen, they buy all these ingredients, different ingredients. And then they have different priests. So one day by the time Bharat gets up, all these priests are outside his store chanting those mantras for coronation, right? They're getting ready. And then he comes out, he's like, what are you doing? And he says, we are going to coronate you as a king. He said, no, it's never going to happen. So in our life also we'll get tested many times in many ways. And Krishna sees the genuine sincerity in us when we say something. So we have to develop that genuine love and devotion towards Krishna, at the same time genuine sincerity. When we say something, we mean it. And it's not like, playing tricks in the back and forth saying, oh, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean that, I didn't mean that. Take your time. Put pass button. Lakshman is famous in Ramayana putting the pass button. You know that? When deer comes, she wants that golden deer, right? And then she says, I want it. And then Ram and Lakshman try to tell her that's not real golden deer. She says, no, that's golden deer. I wanted it. Please, Ram, get it for me. And then Ram goes, and then you know the story, and then he kills it, and then it's actually a demon. And then she hears the voice, Lakshman, Sita, help, you know. And then Sita says, Lakshman, go and protect Ramchandra. And then Lakshman says, what are you talking? You know, just few days back only he killed 40,000 demons in 40 minutes. So who will attack Lord Ramchandra? Who can do what? Don't worry, mother. And then she tells Lakshman, oh, now I understand. Now I understand why you are behaving like this. Now we understand why you came to the forest with us. Because when you want to be with me when your brother is not there. And then Lakshman hearts break. Right? So, but did Lakshman reacted? That's when he pressed that pause button. And he was thinking about what Sita Devi did for him all these years. How nicely she took care of him all these years. And then with that recollection of what she did to him, he pacified himself saying, it's okay, whatever she said, it's alright. And then she says, please be safe, and then he leaves. So even in our life, sometimes we need that pause button. When somebody says something, we don't want to be like a raising fire, reacting immediately. Not writing 100 lines of emails or sending 2 paragraphs of WhatsApp. Just take a pause button. Think what they did to us in our lives. Think what they mean to us in our lives. And that helps us to build the relationships more and more stronger. That helps for us to develop that gratitude towards that person. That helps to develop that love and affection more and more towards that person and as a whole towards the whole community. You know, every single service that we do, Lord Ramchandra takes into consideration. Any single thing that you do, cleaning pots, washing floors, doesn't matter. Jatayu, when Lord Sita got abducted, Jatayu fought. Jatayu fought with Ravana. Ravana is so strong. Right? Jatayu fought. But how many minutes he fought? 48 minutes he fought with Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ravana, not Lord Ravana. So why did he fought for 48 minutes? Because there is some muhurta, time. Here, I don't know in the Western culture, but in India, for every single thing, parents says wait. Whatever you say, they say 10:41 you have to go out, means 10:41 only you step out. Even if you say 10:40, it's only 1 minute, they say no, inauspicious, sit down. By mistake, if you step out, you have to go in, wash your feet, wash your face again, and you have to go back. That is there. That is the culture. So Jatayu fought 48 minutes because before that 48 minutes, anything that goes, it will not come back. Anything, your property, your thing, any things that goes, it will never come back. After that 48th minute of Muhurta, anything goes, that definitely will come back. So he was trying to manage that 48 minutes fighting with Lord Ravana so that Sita will definitely come back. And then what did he got for Lord Ramchandra? Lord Ramchandra, he did not say that when he was searching for Sita, when he saw Jatayu in bloody pool, in bloody pool, he said, oh Jatayu, I'm sorry that you fought for me, I really don't have time, I have to go look for Sita. So I'll see you later. He did not say that. He took time to show his gratitude for Jatayu. He took time to show his affection for Jatayu. He did the final rites for Jatayu, being the Lord, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A bird with lower consciousness than us. What if we do any simple service to Lord Ramchandra? How much he will remember us? How much he will benedict us? So from all these pastimes, one thing is from Dashrath, Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, Lakshman. Even Lakshman, he went through so much, right? Nidra Devi comes to Lakshman one day. He wanted to guard Lord Ram and Sita. Nidra Devi comes. Nidra, you know, who doesn't know Nidra Devi here? Many of us know, especially during Japa period. Right? As soon as we hold the bead bag, next benediction is Nidra Devi. Until then we are fine. We work in the kitchen, laundry, this, that. We are active, going up and down, talking to kids. We can even preach to kids about how to do japa. We can even tell everybody else how attentively we have to do japa. As soon as we hold the bead bag, we are the first people to sleep. Right? So Nidra Devi comes to Lakshman. And then Lakshman says, hello, I'm very happy that you came to me, but you know, I don't have time for you. But if you really wanted to serve me this way, I have a request for you. You go to my wife. And then Nidra Devi goes to his wife, Urmila. That's why Urmila sleep most of the 14 years she was sleeping only. So she won't miss Lakshman. Right? So, from all these pastimes, see how Lakshman is service oriented. Like he just wanted to serve. And if you take Dashrath, Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, what kind of pain they went through in the process of serving Lord Ramchandra, being a mother, father. See, many times when we hear Bhagavatam, when we hear Krishna stories from Krishna book, we immediately goes into the dream fantasy land. Oh, I wanted to be Mother Yashoda to Krishna. You know, I wanted to be a gopi, so I can also love Krishna like this. But if we become a close associate of the Lord, this is what happens. Ashwin, they are all very eligible associates. That's why they could be able to become father and mother and brother to Lord Ramchandra. It's always a happiest place to be a servant of servant. Right? If somebody says, let the leaders comes and says, can you do this, you know, for me? I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And whether that work is successful, not successful, whether it is needed or not needed, that is their headache, Baba. You got the service, you just did it. Right? Bhumi Puja is coming. You're all excited about Bhumi Puja? What is this? 6 years we struggled with architects, 6 years we struggled, 6 years TC got blood all over their face, all over their body, bringing something, and I'm asking, are you excited for Bhumi Puja? Like, what? Come on guys, are you excited? Okay, Hari Bol. Microphone, it didn't work, still I am screaming louder than you. If I say, are you all happy? Are you ready for Prasad? Then you will come. Yeah, I know. So Bhumi Puja is coming up. We all have an opportunity to be a servant of servant to the leaders of Columbus Krishna community. We have many leaders leading many things. So let us pray on this auspicious day at the lotus feet of Lord Ramchandra that we all serve together without any ill intentions. We all cooperate with each other without having any ill feelings. Let us pray at the lotus feet that we all serve together and we build a community together with loving relationships. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I finished at 12:25, I thought I'll take questions, but I finished at 12:35. You want to? Yes, Mataji.
Fantastic lecture, Mataji. You must come to Cincinnati.
So let's offer our prayers. Let's do some rocking kirtan for Lord Ramchandra. Lord Ramchandra Bhagavani ki
Jai Ho!
Sita Ram Lakshmana Bhagavani ki
Jai Ho!
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.